and the dog's deed is done.
What can I say? They were the best. They really stood out. They put it all together when it counts, and that's what this sport's all about.
What a routine.
And that just may do it for Georgia here tonight.
Wow.
The Jim Dog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Yocklin. Welcome to the Jim Dog Show. And with me today, as always, is Associate Head Coach Jay Clark. We just came off of one of our top 2 competitions of the season, and it came right after the adversity that we faced with the injury to Courtney Kupets and then the loss to Michigan. We came back home, regrouped, and had a tremendous competition against UCLA and scored a 197.9 to tie our high score of the year.
Right. It's just nice to see the team bounce back the way they did with such emotion and such passion. As you talked to them before the meet about that really being the key from here on out, compete with passion for what you're doing. And it was just a great way to come back after the loss at Michigan and after the disappointment. We seem to have kind of gotten out of the fog a little bit, and they were happy. You could see they were having a good time out there, and to me that was much more important even than the score.
Absolutely, and UCLA also had a good competition. It was a sellout crowd again, but what really highlighted the meet were outstanding performances from some of our specialists on the various events, but also the leadership that we had in this competition from our 2 all-arounders, Katie Heenan and Tiffany Tolnay, who both had just unbelievable competitions on all 4 events.
Yeah, they're going to be key all the way down the stretch from here on out. And, of course, getting Katie back in the all-around and getting her consistent. Everyone knows what Katie's capable of. She's been #1 in the nation in the all-around for extended periods of time over her career. And then to have Tiffany really start to exhibit some confidence again and do the Yurchenko 1.5 for the 2nd week in a row and do a career-high 39.65. Those 2 guys right there have got to be our big bombers the rest of the way.
That's right, and then of course you've got McCool and Grace Taylor and Nikki Childs. I mean, we have just an unbelievable lineup from top to bottom on every event. But what was most outstanding in this competition was how our team started off the meet on vaulting, where we've been struggling throughout the season with just great vaults from top to bottom, stuck landings, and just our high score so far this season on vaulting. So let's take a look at that first event, the vaulting.
So we're home once again. It's alumni night. You can see we had an outstanding turnout of alumni. Over 25 to 30 years worth of alumni. I think we had well over 50 people show up for the meet, gymnasts and coaches of former teams. And there's the 98 team being honored for their 10-year reunion of the 98 championship. Marcia Newby gets us started off on vault. And actually, that was one of her better vaults in recent meets. There is a step there on the landing, but she does get off the table square and gets a little more rise than what she's been getting in weeks past. And so she gets us off to a very good start. Cassidy McComb up next. Yurchenko 1.5. Almost sticks it. A little bit short there. Kind of hops backwards, but a great vault. Nonetheless, one of the best 2 vaults in the meet. 9.95 is her score. And she's getting better and better. She gets more and more confident with this vault that she'd never competed until she came to Georgia. Katie Heenan back on vault for us. Katie continues to be probably the most consistent vaulter in our lineup in terms of what we're going to expect from her. Tremendous block, tremendous rise. Little hop there on the landing as she shifts her feet, but goes 9.925, and that's her 6th straight meet with a 9.9 or better. Anna Lee back on bars for UCLA, and bars is probably the best event for UCLA. You notice that all of their kids execute fairly well. They've had some injury problems this year that are preventing them from training the way they'd like to. But there's a lot of talent on that team. A giant fold to Tkachev right there, big Tkachev. She's getting ready for her dismount. Another double layout and a hop there on the landing, but still goes 9.9. And she's a 2nd-ranked gymnast on bars behind Courtney Kupets at this point in time. Yurchenko 1.5 from Tiffany Tolnay, 2nd week in a row. It's just really nice to see her get some confidence going again on that vault, as so much has been made of the issue that she had in the past, but that is exactly that. It is in the past, and she's showing that right there. Beautiful Yurchenko 1.5, the best one we've seen her do in a long time, 9.95, and we get off to a great start with a 49.55 on vault to 49.025 for UCLA on bars. So we head over to bars with a fairly comfortable lead after 1 rotation, and anytime you can come out of 1 rotation with a 4/10 lead, that's big. Courtney McCool over on bars here. She hits the Takacha very well. The first two handstands were excellent. Giant full bell to handstand. This handstand's a little short, although it looked good from this angle. Double A full out. She does step there with the right foot. Goes 9.875, but just excellent execution all the way through. Ariana Berlin from UCLA on vault. Yurchenko full, very solid, very clean landing. She probably could have held that a little longer before she turned. 9.875. Tiffany Tolnay back on bars. And Tiffany's getting more and more consistent with every part of this routine. The handstands are up. The landings have been better. Beautiful Jaeger there. Overshoot to handstand. So she's got two major releases. And she's going to finish with an E dismount, which, you know, as you get later in the season, the judges begin to separate routines based on the composition and the execution. There is a step there on that landing, but a 9.9 because the rest of the routine was flawless. Tasha Schweikert, Yurchenko full, does hop there on the landing, but a great vault. She always has tremendous amplitude, 9.925. Katie Heenan back on bars in the anchor spot now. Toe on blind, right on top. That has gotten so much better as the year has gone. You may recall that being a bit of a problem early in the year where she would kind of wing it over the top and it would finish very late. Katie also has two major releases, two D releases. To the double front here. She tucks a little bit early and ends up cowboying it, stepping backwards, which is not what you want to do. 9.875. So our landings were not great. It's tied for our lowest score of the year, 49.225, but we still have a relatively comfortable lead after two rotations with a 98.775 to 98.3.
The Jim Dog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. By McCarr Homes. McCarr Homes, built with passion for over 50 years. By Brown Arrowhead Clinic. Arrowhead Clinic, Georgia's largest spinal health care organization. By Athens Regional Medical Center. At Athens Regional, we have a specialty, you. By Phil Hughes Honda. Phil Hughes Honda, the official Honda of the Georgia Gym Dogs. By the Georgia Club. The Georgia Club, a community of neighborhoods in Bulldog Country. And brought to you by Alpha Factor. Alpha Factor, the official gymnastics apparel worn by the Georgia Gym Dogs.
Ask Suzanne, brought to you by McCarr Homes. And the question is, with this week being the last home competition and senior night, how will the lineups go? And the answer is, well, this close to postseason, we would like to have our lineups as close to the championship lineup as possible. But of course, with it being senior night, we want to honor our seniors, and they will compete on every event possible. That's Ask Suzanne, brought to you by McCarr Homes. Welcome back. Well, there you can see after the first half of the competition, a great start on vaulting, lost a little bit of momentum when we went over to the uneven bars, and as Jay said, it was those landings. We just couldn't stick those landings. But the team feels the energy of the arena, it's great. The team is just very focused, and I really expect that we'll go over to balance beam and do a good job today.
Yeah, and it's a great balance beam team, and we've been saying all year that should be a very strong event, if not the strongest event for us. And I think as we get down the stretch, everybody's going to start to realize just how strong we are on this event, and really overall, but this event in particular. This event is full of world-class type balance beam workers. They really work the beam well, on toe. The routines flow. You don't see a lot of choppy things that you see in a lot of other people's routines. And with the exception of really sticking the dismounts, that's really the only thing that we've been missing so far.
Let's take a look.
So the crowd's a little thin. It was a sellout crowd, but we had tornadoes in the area, and you can see some empty seats. But as we went along, it did fill up. And I'll tell you what, it was a very enthusiastic crowd, a very loud crowd for most of the meet. And that's generally what happens when big scores are going and the team's really executing. It's very exciting. Hillary Morrow, she's been such a rock for us as a freshman, very consistent on all events. Punch front, she lands almost straight up and down on a punch front. She and Tiffany probably have the best two punch fronts on our team on the balance beam. Here's the double back, double pike. She does hop the landing there, but it's still a great start for us, and she goes 9.85. That is her season high. Tiffany back on beam, and you can just see a different confidence in Tiffany's face in this meet. She's really feeling good about where she is right now. And boy, it couldn't come at a better time. We're glad to see that, because it's the right timing for us as we get down the stretch, and certainly with the absence of Courtney, Tiffany's going to be a big key for us as we get down into the championship portion of the season. You see that switch sweep was very, very small. She didn't split her legs very much at all, and that's going to be a deduction. And then a 10th there for the step on the dismount. But she still goes 9.85, and otherwise very solid routine. Ashley Jenkins, whip immediate double pike to open up her floor exercise. UCLA has some very unique choreography of just a 2-element series there with a front full. That's a little bit weaker. They probably need a 3-element series there, but she does come back and finish with a double tuck to finish her routine with a D to get UCLA off to a good start with a 9.9. Grace Taylor back on balance beam, and this is probably the best balance routine she has done to this point this year. Grace has such poise and just a nice look on beam, and as you heard us mention in the open, our kids really work the beam well, and they work it on toe when they're supposed to, and the routine flows very well. Some of that is a lost art in today's collegiate gymnastics scene, but our kids seem to really understand that and do a great job of performing beam the way it should be done. She shows her flexibility there on that needle scale. The full turn with the leg up, connected to the gainer layout. Very nicely done. Connection is there, so she gets credit for that. Not much wrong with this routine at all. I haven't seen anything except maybe a slight balance check on that front aerial right here. Just a little tiny check there. That was the only thing that you could possibly take. She sticks the double full dismount, 9.975. So obviously one judge took that little balance check and one did not. Katie Heenan back on beam for us, and she's moved back into that 5th spot, and she feels very comfortable there. She's very solid there. You see the series. Nothing you can take there. Straddle jump, the sheep jump, very well done. You'd like that straddle jump to be a little more of a 180 split. Super solid on the punch front. Not much wrong here at all. And a double full that she sticks the landing on, 9.95, and that ties her career high. She hadn't scored that high on the beam since 2006. So 49.4 is a heck of a way to bounce back from a subpar uneven bars performance, and we stretch our lead a little bit, 148.175 to 147.575 after 3 rotations.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm going to ask Marcia what's her favorite candy.
Thanks for your question, Jessica. Well, my favorite candy is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. They're just so good. The chocolate and the peanut butter.
Hi, my name is Danny Fleming, and the favorite part of the meet for me is just walking into Stegman Coliseum and getting caught up in all the excitement and watching all the small kids and the excitement of the gym dogs pulling together to win another great meet.
Welcome back. You can tell we bounced back on balance beam and a great score overall of 49.4, and that's really pretty typical of what we need to be doing all the time. And so we're headed to floor, and I remember looking, Suzanne, at the beginning of the meet and looking at that floor lineup and going, wow, this is a great floor lineup that can really do some damage here, and it kind of looks like it may be the lineup that we go with for the rest of the way. I don't know if that's the way you're thinking of it, but I look at it and I just don't see any weak spots in that thing.
Absolutely. You know, I think it's going to be great if we can start out the national championship and the SEC championships with Abby on floor with a triple twist with an E right off the bat, a strong floor routine for us, and all the way through, like you said, floor is just an exceptional event for us, and this is really the first time that we are getting in the lineup that we think will be in there for postseason. What I like best about our floor routines is that they're all so different. Right. You know, we've got hip-hop, we've got techno, we've got country, we've got classical. It's a great mix of different styles, and it really shows a full variety of gymnastics on the floor exercise, artistic gymnastics. So I'm excited about floor, and hopefully we can just continue the team to build on the momentum from beam and push that 198 score that everyone wants to be able to score at some point in their career. So let's see what happens over on floor exercise.
We go to floor, a great floor lineup. Just looking at the roster, at that lineup going down as we got over there, you kind of thought this floor lineup could really do it. A beautiful triple full, so big she actually over-rotates. You don't see many people square a triple full all the way around the way Abby does. much less over-rotate one. Double full punch front there in the middle. Finishes with a very strong double pike, much better than what she was doing earlier in the season. And just a perfect lead-off routine for us because the difficulties in the tumbling and the dance is very entertaining, and I think it's going to be a routine that can score well for us. Christina Conforte back on beam for UCLA. Christina's career has been hampered by injury while at UCLA, but when she's on, she's an All-American type kid. She's from Illinois Gymnastics Institute in Chicago. Does a very strong routine there. Sticks the landing. Christina goes 9.9. Cassidy McComb back on floor for us. A little bit of a bigger lunge than what we'd like to see on that double pike. But a huge double pike nonetheless. Front full punch front layout. Beautifully done. Nothing wrong there. No deduction on that pass. And then finishes with an extremely difficult way to finish. 2.5 punch front. And I don't know that I've seen very many people in collegiate gymnastics finish with that pass and that level of difficulty and execute it as well as Cassidy does, and goes 9.925. 6 scores of 9.9 or higher for her. The senior and the rock of our team, Katie Heenan, front double full punch front, a very difficult pass, and her signature performance. You just see how she pulls the crowd and the judges into what she's doing. Turns around and goes back with a big double pike. We think that this week we're going to move that to the last pass. She's been practicing for the last 2 weeks with it as the last pass. And the round off 1.5 to punch half twisting layout to finish. That is a C plus bonus there at the end, but we think we really need to kind of separate her a little bit by giving her the D in the last pass. Tasha Schweikert on beam for UCLA. She finishes this night with 3 scores of 9.9 or better, and you just see why she was a 2004 Olympian. A little bit of a problem there, obviously. That was a balance check. Probably could have been a full 10th. We'll see what the rest of the routine looks like. Straddle jump to back tuck. There was another little balance check. Just what an athlete this kid is. Round of 1.5. She's had some Achilles soreness that she's been dealing with and has scaled back a little bit there. Does take a hop on the landing and still goes 9.9, so a great score for Tasha. Tiffany Tone, a huge Arabian double. She really didn't, it was bigger than she thought. She was looking for the floor and it wasn't there. And so she does take that big lunge. 2.5 punch front there in the middle. Looked a little bit crooked on there. And a strong double pike to finish at the end of that routine. Tiffany you can just see she looks happy. She's into what she's doing, and the confidence really seems to be growing at the right time. So hopefully she's peaking at the right time. 9.95 and a season high that ties her career high. And McCool in the anchor spot, knocking it out as usual. 2.5 punch front full. Folks, that is just a ridiculous tumbling pass. It's not something that you see very many people do at all, much less to that level of execution. She's just perfect with everything she does. Toe point, the splits are there. You don't see very much technically wrong in any routine that this kid does. And that's a tribute both to her and to her club coaches, that Alan Armanet out at Gage in Kansas City. They just did a fantastic job with this kid. Whip immediate double full. She's having fun. And she's about to be rewarded with her first ever 10 as soon as she finishes this pass. You can see what students we did have in town were very enthusiastic and got into the floor routine with her. The team's sort of feeling it. They know that she's got a special routine going, and part of it is the kids ahead of her did great routines and sort of, backed the judges into a corner. They've already gone 9.95 twice, so if this routine is better execution-wise, there's really not any choice but to move it up from what they've scored the previous 2. Here's the final pass. It's an E-level pass. Very, very difficult at the end. A front double full landed very, very cleanly. The crowd goes bananas, as does our team, because they know she's got a shot at this. You can see the team come flying out on the floor. Very excited. And she does get the 10. She's thanking the crowd, and she's blowing a kiss to her mother because her mother was here for her first 10. She goes 197.9 to 196.925 for UCLA. Actually, their highest score and best performance of the year as well. So a very talented UCLA team, but just very proud of the way that our team bounced back in terms of their attitude and attacking this meet.
Routine of the week, brought to you by Athens Regional Medical Center, and this week's routine is obviously Courtney McCool on floor exercise, where she earns the perfect 10. That's Routine of the week, brought to you by Athens Regional Medical Center.
Countdown to the NC2A is brought to you by Melwood Springs, and as you can see, we once again hold on to the #1 spot. However, Florida has moved into the #2 spot over Utah. UCLA moves up to #8, and 4 of the 6 top teams in the country are from the Southeastern Conference. And that's Countdown to the NC2As, brought to you by Melwood Springs.
Well, there you have it. What a great way to finish a competition. The perfect 10 by Courtney McCool. And this actually was the first perfect 10 that Georgia's had on floor exercise since 2004, when Marlene Stevens earned a perfect 10. So what a great night for Courtney and a great night for the team. A lot of highlights all the way through.
Just a very great way to finish the meet against what we thought was going to be a very strong UCLA team. We've got one more meet at home, and you can really sort of feel the intensity picking up as we get ready to drive the final home stretch going into the championship part of the season. So we'll see you next week with the highlights from the Iowa State meet and senior night.
The Jim Dog Show has been brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. By McCarr Homes. McCarr Homes, built with passion for over 50 years. By Brown Arrowhead Clinic. Arrowhead Clinic, Georgia's largest spinal health care organization. By Athens Regional Medical Center. At Athens Regional, we have a specialty, you. By Phil Hughes Honda. Phil Hughes Honda, the official Honda of the Georgia Gym Dogs. By the Georgia Club. The Georgia Club, a community of neighborhoods in Bulldog Country. And brought to you by Alpha Factor. Alpha Factor, the official gymnastics apparel worn by the Georgia Gym Dogs.